Today, there are over 1.2 million off-grid telecom towers around the world. They collectively spend over $20 billion a year on diesel fuel. They consume 5 billion gallons of diesel fuel each year and emit 45 million tons of CO2. And Halo sees this as a huge opportunity.
We're starting out by targeting the telecom industry, specifically remote off-grid cell towers that primarily use diesel fuel for energy. And the idea there is that diesel fuel is very, very expensive and probably runs these companies 60% of their operating business costs. So our turbine can supplant a lot of that energy that's produced by diesel fuel, thereby reducing their cost and saving these cell tower companies lots of money.
It's a product that's half the physical size of a traditional open rotor wind turbine. And because it's physically small, we can install it on an existing telecom tower. It doesn't require its own tower, it doesn't require its own foundation. So compared to existing wind, we're less than half the cost. Worldwide, there's no shortage of towers that exist in remote locations that are off-grid, and the number's just growing.
In Africa, 90% of all telecom towers lack reliable grid electricity. In India, that number's closer to 60%. And so that's where you really have these very heavy concentrations of off-grid telecom towers. And as telecom networks continue to grow, that number's only going to go up because the growth of telecom networks, the pace of growth of telecom networks is exceeding the pace of growth in grid infrastructure.
Whether you compare us to existing wind, solar, or diesel, we're not only the lowest cost solution to the telecom company, but more importantly, we're the one that piggybacks on that infrastructure that's there and allows them to sort of utilize that previous investment in building a tower. So we benefit from a really simple value chain proposition. Tower owners lease space, they're real estate companies, so they lease space on their tower. In these off-grid and poorly grid-connected environments, they also sell power to those customers. So any opportunity for a tower owner to generate power cheaper than the diesel alternative goes right to their bottom line. Their customers pay the same, but the tower owner gets to pocket the difference of renewable energy generation versus diesel.
The idea is that in really good wind regimes, in some of these countries, where our turbine will work really well, the customer can pay off the price of the turbine within a period of 6 months to a year, thereby not only offsetting the 60% of their operational costs, but having that turn into 120% gain within a 2-year period.
On average, our turbine can generate 13,000 kilowatt hours a year. That will typically power 100% of a telecom tower's required electricity. And in doing so, we offset up to 5,000 gallons of diesel that would otherwise be consumed by that tower each year and displace 50 tons of CO2.
We've entirely de-risked the technology with a full-scale demonstrator. We've built out our supply chain and our sourcing strategy. We've brought partners in to help us commercialize the product at scale. The one thing that remains is to put it in the hands of a customer, and we're on track to do that in 2018 with a variety of telecom companies geographically across the globe.